All right, this is your representing rates homework. The wages of 4 employees in the mail department are represented below. Use the information to answer the questions. So we've got a table for Steph and all the hours she works and how much money she makes. And then we've got Layla, who's the owner. She pays herself twice the sum of the other employees' weekly wages. Then we've got Marco, who makes $9 an hour. And we've got a graph for Miss Destiny, and we see how many hours she works and how much money she makes. So, question number 1. If H represents hours and W represents wages, then how much more does Steph earn per hour than Marco? Well, Marco, we already know, makes $9 per hour. So with Steph, she makes $157.50 for 15 hours of work. So if she only works 1 hour, we're going to cross multiply and divide to figure out how much she makes per hour. 157.5 divided by 15 equals $10.50 per hour. Okay, that's how much Steph makes per hour, and we know how much Marco makes. But the question says, how much more does Steph earn than Marco? So we have to find the difference between $10.50 and $9. So if you do $10.50 minus 9, she earns $1.50 more. 2. What is Destiny's hourly wage? Well, we can see in our graph that if she works 10 hours, she makes $200. So I'm going to put $200 for 10 hours. But I want to know, if she only works 1 hour, how much money is she going to make? So cross multiply and divide. Destiny makes $20 per hour. Number 3, if both Destiny and Steph work 35 hours, how much more will Destiny earn? So Steph works 35 hours and makes $10.50 an hour. Destiny works 35 hours and she makes $20 an hour. So let's figure out how much they make. $10.50 times 35 hours equals $367.50. And 35 hours times $20 an hour means that Destiny makes $700 in those 35 hours. And we want to know how much more Destiny earns. So we have to find the difference between these two numbers. 700 minus 367.5 equals $332.50 more. That's how much more Destiny makes compared to Stephanie. Okay. Number 4. 1 week, Steph worked 20 hours, Marco worked 12, and Destiny worked 32 hours. How much did the owner, Layla, pay herself? Well, if Steph worked 20 hours, she makes $10.50 an hour. Marco makes $9 an hour, and Destiny makes $20 an hour. So let's figure out how much our totals are. $10.50 times 20 hours is $210 for Steph. Marco makes $108. And Destiny makes 640. My bad. Oh, I'm messing up. Hold on. All right. So now we figure out When you add up all three of these employees, we figure out they make a total of $958. Up here at the beginning, it says that Layla, the boss, pays herself twice the sum of the other employees' weekly wages. So we figured out their weekly wage, and she makes double that. So when you multiply 958 times 2, we figure out that Layla pays herself $1,916 for 1 week. Number 5. Last week, Layla paid herself $1,439. If Steph worked 15 hours, Destiny worked 20 hours. How many hours did Marco work last week? There's a lot that goes into this problem. Steph makes $10.50 an hour. Destiny makes $20 an hour. So 15 times 10.5 equals $157.50. Destiny makes $400, and we don't know how many hours Marco worked, but we do know he makes $9 an hour, okay? And we know Layla paid herself $1,439. We also know that she pays herself double what her employees make altogether. So if we divide this by 2, we're going to figure out our total for how much Steph, Destiny, and Marco should be making. So 1439 divided by 2 equals $719.50. Now, I'm going to take that $719.50 and subtract 400 and 157.5 to figure out how much money Marco made. And he ends up making $162. But the question said how many hours did he work? So we have to figure out 9 times what equals 162, or 162 divided by 9 will give us our answer. So 162 divided by $9 an hour means Marco worked 18 hours.